Morning. As you can see, it's like the fire time in the dining room. It's a bit nippy outside, frosty, so it's like chaos, like a bomb's hit it, because I used to keep some of my modelling stuff on top of the fire, so I've had to move it onto the dining room table, so it's full. Anyway, it's nice, isn't it? What we're going to do, what I'm going to do anyway, is I'm going to make some trees. Okay, I'll hold that piece of paper up so you can see it properly. That's one of my trees that I've made. So I don't know, there's hundreds of YouTube things about making trees, aren't there? So this is just about me making a tree, sort of combination of all sorts of different stuff. Pennies, don't cost much if you've got the time to do it. I think it's probably worthwhile, very therapeutic. Yeah, it saves me loads of money. I don't have to go to the therapist. Anyway, we'll get on with what we need, shall we? In a minute. Ooh, I'll switch myself off first. Right, yeah. What I'm going to do is go through the stuff which you're going to have to. Somebody doing that? Somebody there. I haven't got my right glasses on, I can't see. Anyway, going to go through the materials that we need to. Oh dear. Make the trees. Right, I can't see the screen at the moment because I've got my seeing eye glasses on, but what I can see is here. Right, so first off what you need is a cup of tea and some cable. Right, what I've got here is some old cooker cable. Thank you, dear. Bye. Right, cooker cable. It always makes me feel a bit embarrassed. Three core multi-core stuff, not solid copper. So we need that, and we need to strip the outer off and find the wires in the middle. That's two of them. I think the other one I've already stripped off. Right, so you've got to take the plastic off those until you get to the actual copper inside. Right, so that's the cable. What else do we need? Roll of masking tape, some wood glue, some wood coloured paint. That's Humbrol 110 and 29, which is one's called wood and the other one is something else, dark wood by the looks of things. Anyway, you need that. Oh, a pair of pliers, or two if you've got two pairs of pliers. It's quite handy. Craft knife for stripping the wires. Something to cut odd bits of wire off with, and I use these. It's an old pair of track cutters. What are they called? Zuron track cutters. And some foam, a bit like that, that you can stick the tree into to hold it whilst you're working on it. and if you wish, some fine leaf foliage, okay, which I've bought. It's kind of greenish with some reddish bits in it, and if you want to use that you can, but what I generally use is, this is Woodland Scenic stuff, and it's called foliage, believe it or not, right? And it's kind of like a funny looking matte of green, 2 different shades of green I've got, okay, so I'll show you what we're going to do with that afterwards. Actually it's pretty good stuff. I don't usually buy much stuff from Woodland Scenics, basically because they're American. And we've got some other, which is autumn. That's autumn, and I suppose the other one must be spring or whatever. Foliage is called. Right, so what we need to end up with is the tree that we showed you before. Oh, that's what I want to end up with anyway. And I mean, they'll come in all different shapes and sizes, don't they, trees? I did a while ago now. I bought some. Can you see that? It looks a bit like one of those things you clean the toilet out with. It's not bad. It's not bad, I suppose, if it's in the background up high. But they're all the same. Trees ain't all the same. So we can make all sorts of different trees. Just go out and have a look. See what takes your fancy. Come back and have a go at it. Anyway, we'll come back in a tick when I've sorted actually what we're doing. Right, so we've got some of the copper wire that we've denuded, as it were, and I don't know, how long's that? It's probably about a foot long, I think, probably in total, about a foot long. So what I'll do is work out what diameter I want the trunk of the tree, and then work out how many strands of this I need to make it that thick, okay, to make it the diameter that I want. In this particular instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 of these, but I'm going to double them up, okay. So I'll put the top ends together, it doesn't matter if they're not absolutely equal, and then fold them at the bottom, okay. So that will be the bottom of the tree, that there. At which point I hold those 2 together with my pliers. Next step is to decide how long you want the trunk of the tree to be, and generally that's going to be about 3 inches high, I suppose, maybe 2.5 inches high, okay. So what I'll do there is I'll start twisting, I'll hold where I want the trunk to be, and I'll start twisting the trunk of the tree. Now you can either hold that end here with your fingers, like I've done. If you decide that you want the trunk a bit taller, then just move your fingers along a bit. Alright. Right, the object of the exercise, obviously, so you've got that, and now we've got 4 limbs. Now generally what you can do with these is twist each one of those, obviously, starting from the base, not the top, starting from the base, start twisting it until it gets to the point that you want that branch, the length of that branch, and then you can divide. If I move those out of the way, you'll see. You can divide it up again into two. Alright, so we divided it up again into two. That's this one and that one. And then we can start twisting each one of those until we get to the length that we want for each of those branches. And then if we want, we can divide it up again and again and again and again and again. Right, at the end of the exercise of twisting, it's quite therapeutic. We'll cut through the bottom here, or make it completely round and the same diameter as the trunk. It's up to you. Right, then we're going to end up with a tree which looks like that. So you've got lots of sort of little small branches. There's one in the middle here, which has obviously been struck by lightning, and some smaller ones at the base, so they were taken out almost immediately. You no need to keep the length of the cable. If you want a short one down the bottom, then just take the wire out and cut it off with a pair of pliers, no problem, or the thingies. Alright, so what that is twisted wire, that's all. The next step is to get your masking tape and to tape the bottom of the tree, and then tape up, if you don't like the look of the branches, tape those up to whatever height you want. Alright, that's the next step. Or you can, if you wish, buy all that stuff to make trees with, which is like a putty kind of thing, to make it look like bark or whatever you want. But to be honest with you, once it's painted, you can't tell. I mean, all trees are different, aren't they? So once we've covered the bits that we want in masking tape, you don't cover the little bits obviously, then we end up with a tree very similar to this. Alright, now that is at a point now where we can think about putting on the foliage onto the tree once we get rid of the cobwebs. So what I try and do is I try and flatten off these little bits here so that they sit flat, so that I can put the foliage on them, you know. Right, so that's the basic tree form onto which we're going to stick our foliage, and we'll do that in a truss. Right, after we've twisted everything, then is the time to give it a coat of paint. Probably require 2 coats of paint, if not 3. Luckily the copper colour isn't too far off, you know. I mean, it's not as if it's white or bright pink, is it? It sort of blends in and you can't really see it once you've given it a good coat of paint, so it all looks basically the same colour. You can obviously add a few greys in there, do colours whatever you want, but now I've put some PVA glue and I have my trusty grot brush, and we're going to look at this foliage. Okay, so it's like a thin mat. Alright, you can see through it, but it's still a bit thick for what we're trying to do. Alright, so we'll rip off a bit. There we go. Right, bring this piece of paper over. You might be able to see it a bit better. Okay, so that's it there. What we need to do is to tease it out so that there's no clumps. Alright. And once we've done that, we'll have a look and see which part of the tree this would best fit on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit it on this part here. Alright, so make sure my little pieces of wire are upwards, and then coat them with a nice thick coat of PVA. Ooh. That will do. Right, next step is to put this, place it on the area where you've glued and just press it down onto the branches of the tree. Okay, well, that looks alright. Right, I forgot what you do need as well will probably be a pair of scissors. The scissors are there just to give it a little bit of a haircut if it needs it. Alright, there's a bit sticking out there. Leaves just don't wander in mid-air, do they? They've got to be attached to something. So that is the first bit of foliage that we're going to put on that. Now if you want it a little bit more dense, then some hairspray with some of the fine leaves you can sprinkle on afterwards would make the tree a little bit more dense. If you don't want it more dense, then you end up with a tree looking like, well, which I quite like. Suits me. I can cut the trunk off to the height that I want. I could make a little small bush if I wanted to. I don't have to make a tree. And that's how it ends up. And I quite like that. So I'm going to carry on doing these because we do need quite a few. So I think that's about it. Fix it afterwards if you wish with some acrylic type varnishes, matte, if you wish. Use different coloured green foliage. I think it's still available. I must have bought this about 20 years ago and I haven't used much of it yet, so it goes a long way. And when I bought that, it was what was it? £2.50. So I think the price has probably gone up since then. But you don't need much of it, so it's probably worthwhile having a look out for that stuff. And there you go, a tree for a few pennies really, isn't it? Right, I shall have to go out for my daily walk now. We're in lockdown here in France. and 1 hour, 1 kilometre radius, and you have to fill in a form before you go with your name, address, time you left, size of shoes, colour of your eyes, I can't remember what, but you do that and then you can go for your walk, which I'm just about to do. So I shall wave you bye bye, boop, 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 until the next time. Look after yourselves, eh? Cheers for now.